Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Star Sound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna Samsara, Star Sound Astrology. So today is Inauguration Day, and we have sworn in Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Our first Madam President. Yoo-hoo! Oh my goodness. Definitely changes in the air. I'm going to talk a little bit, just a short video today, but just to talk a little bit about the chart, the inauguration chart, and all these things that we've seen, the breakthroughs that we've seen occur, and what this might mean for the Biden administration, or I'll say the Biden-Harris administration. Because Mars is exactly conjunct Uranus today, which is why my hair is crazy. I purposely did not comb it because I'm like, wild celebration. So lots of good news here. I have to say, as you know from previous podcast episodes, I was a little nervous, as were really just about, I think, every astrologer, seeing Mars exactly conjunct Uranus, knowing what just happened with the Capitol riots 2 weeks ago. So it's exactly conjunct today, Inauguration Day. So that was a little nerve-wracking because, that could get into some pretty hairy situations. On the low side, violence, on such. But the other side of Mars and Uranus, or I would say the high road, is, standing up and forging new paths that are serving everyone, creating this outrageous new beginning. And so, and it is, and we, thank God, we did not see any violence today. Thank good, something that we all, feared the most. We had like 25,000 Capitol troops in town for the inauguration to guard everything, the National Guard, and so everyone was a little on edge, but it all worked out, and that's a perfect example of, well, the power of prayer, first of all, and the power of choice, because it really is up to us. It's what we choose. Every little thing we think and choose adds to the collective. So if we're in our heart, if we're centered, if we're balanced, as we are in our heart, as we are centered, and as we are balanced, that ripples out. And we saw it in today, so many good ways. So I'm just going to do a little commentary before I jump into the chart. Is interesting. I looked at the colors that they wore, Kamala Harris's coat. We could start with that. Look at the visuals of, in filmmaking, they always say, don't tell me, show me. Well, look at how they were, Biden and Harris are talking about unity, and, if you listen to President Biden's speech, it was all about unity, right? Unity consciousness. And that's the most powerful aspect of Mars Uranus conjunct. It's unity consciousness. So, and that's what they're going to be known for. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute when we get into the chart. But anyway, so, we'll start with Vice President Harris. She had that really electric purple color. Well, what is purple? It's royalty for sure, but it's also, I see it as, when you think about purple, transformation. So, in Easter, yellow and, the holiday of Easter, yellow and purple are the colors of Easter. So that's transformation and regeneration. And isn't that appropriate considering everything that has happened and this turnaround and this enormous molting of consciousness that our country is going through? And it's going to continue for the next few years. You're going to see this. And I think today we've really turned a corner. When you think about the turn of events, and when I think about Pluto still being in the sign of Capricorn, will be there for another 3 years. And you think about what that represents. It is the breakdown of society as we've known it. It is about exposing corruption and toxicity. But once that's done, what happens? We regenerate. When the space is cleared, when all of this bad stuff gets exposed and purged, then the growth can occur. And I really feel like we've turned a corner. We definitely turned a corner with the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction last month in December 2020. And all of this preparation, and this new administration absolutely reflects that astrology, and will do so. And it'll leave that legacy, you know, for years to come. But anyway, back to the coats. So purple, right? Healing, regeneration. I think of the chakras, you know, the purple is the crown seal chakra. The Sahasrara is associated with purple. So it's, you know, transmutation, right? But the same theme of transformation was in Jill Biden's coat. Now she had this beautiful soft, right? It wasn't electric and intense, electric-y purple. Well, it was made sense because Kamala's in a leadership position, right? She's leading the country as vice president. So it made sense to have it electric. You know, when you think about the careful choices that go into these things, never happenstance. The color of Jill Biden's coat was this, it was really like turquoise, a soft, muted turquoise. So it's soft, and I think a very Cancerian, you know, we're the USA, we're a Cancer country. So it's water, it's a water sign, but it was a soft, muted water. And it was a soft, you know, water can heal, you know, and so, and it's a very much of a divine feminine, like Mother Mary's mantle, you know, is blue. So it's a soft blue. And I also saw the shade of that was almost a little teal. I guess it depends on what, you know, how your TV screen displays it, but this kind of teal blue, blue green kind of, you know, color. It reminded me of, it's like, I want to call it peacock blue. And I think of the peacock, and what's that? Transformation, right? You know, if you go to an ashram, you know, Guru Mai, she would, you know, have these darshans where she hit people over the head with a peacock feather, and it would be like Shaktipat, enlightenment, and these vast, you know, a transference of Shakti, of energy and power and prana. So anyway, there's Jill's coat being another facet of transformation. You know, it's transformation through leadership, the bright purple, transformation through just this kind, mothering presence, right? The first lady, what does she do? She holds that space. So both very wonderful and appropriate. Then the Michelle Obama's coat, it was red. Oh, the other thing I want to say about Kamala's coat, it's this like purple is red and blue combined. Well, you think about wanting to heal the country and bring both sides together, the red and the blue make purple. So I thought, wow, that was the first thing that really hit me. It was like, wow, it's not just transformation, it's bringing together both sides of the table. Very Aquarian. And then Michelle Obama's was a very, very soft red. So red, but it had a tinge of, it was like magenta. It had a tinge of pink or purplish pink to it. So it was like a pinkish red. So that to me is like unconditional love, heart, you know, the heart and passion, but passion with love, not passion like out of control passion, but it's this focused dedication to love. And so I just adored that. It was like Valentine red, but beautiful with that magenta color. So you all had these we were treated to this panoply of color. And then of course, the amazing, sweet little saint that delivered the poem, Amanda Gorman. Oh my God, like, is this woman even human? I mean, just to look at her energy, how she delivered her speech, her poem was, I felt she was channeling Maya Angelou, you know, with her hands and her gestures. It was just magnificent. So she's wearing this beautiful, soft yellow colored coat, and she wore a yellow jacket too when she delivered the poem. She delivered a poem. She caught the attention of Jill Biden, and that's how she came to be at the inauguration. She apparently had recited a poem at the Library of Congress. So she's the poet laureate, the youngest poet laureate we've ever had in the history of the United States, 22 years old. She became the poet laureate of Los Angeles at 16, you know, so what an amazing kid. Pale yellow, you know, what's yellow? The Manipura chakra, the willpower, right? Divine will, but it's softened. So it's like, yes, it's her light and her fire, but, you know, we look at where is will? Well, will directed toward love and creativity and light, as she called it, the climb up the hill. you know, and so if you haven't had a chance to read the lyrics or see it, just watch her perform it. It's outrageous. So yeah, those colors really, you know, stood out for me. Um, so and Amanda, it's interesting. Amanda's 22, which means she's just had her, or is having her first Uranus square. When you're 21, 22, Uranus squares your natal Uranus. So she, being 22, all those kids in that time period have Uranus and Aquarius. And so now Uranus and Taurus, it's making a square. And so great things accomplished, right? Great, outrageous new beginnings. I mean, here she is, this poem about unity and healing, so Aquarian. Anyway, let's see. You know, there were some really great quotes and things. Oh, I also really shout out to Garth Brooks, brilliant, whoever put together the inauguration committee, having him, right? The first song as president, he comes out and he sings Amazing Grace, and he's a Republican. It's perfect. It's showing like, hey, you know what? It's fine to be a Republican. It's just we're separating ourselves from the corruption and the darkness of the past, and now we are embracing, we're back, you know, like Build Back Better is the name of their campaign or their administration, Build Back Better. And that's just so Pluto and Capricorn, and so Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius, right? Building something of lasting value that is an improvement upon what we have had. But so there was Garth Brooks. Cory Booker, you know, I heard him in the commentary today. He said, I like what he said. He said that higher ground is common ground. I love that. Higher ground is common ground. So let that be our common ground. You know, what's going to unify us, not what's going to divide us and cause us to rebel for no reason. You know, that's a great Mars Uranus combo. That's the high road, baby, man. That is the best. And then, you know, another thing I saw and heard, some, you know, all these, I'm writing them down throughout the day. Our democracy endures. Our democracy endures. Yeah, I think that's one of the things he said in his speech. And I loved how when Biden's grandchildren were walking in the parade, you know, they're walking down Pennsylvania Avenue, and they were waving and shouting to the few crowds that were allowed to be there. They were just saying, "We love you, we love you." And I thought, oh, that's so cool. Like, I've never seen a family say, "We love you" to the people out there in the spectators. And there's the DJ when they had the Virtual America parade, when they showed all the different from the 50 states. If you haven't seen it, it's phenomenal. Go watch that. And they had Earth, Wind, and Fire singing a song. You know, they sing a song. You know, and that whole all their fantastic tunes. Well, they were on for a few minutes, and the DJ that was kind of, you know, leading them all of course remotely. He said, and I love this. This is so perfect for this administration. It's something that we can carry with us as individuals with our own personal transformation and our own movement forward. You know, where are we going to be for the next several years? This administration birth chart is like the tone of the administration. He said, teamwork makes the dream work. Isn't that cool? I love that. Yes. None of this lone wolf anymore, like RIP, we're done. That's not a life-giving, life-enhancing conversation. It's teamwork, you know, teamwork makes the dream work. All right, so let's go to this inauguration chart. So yeah, this inauguration chart is, of course, you know, it's always 12 noon. Since FDR, we changed the from March. It used to be in March inaugurations. Now they're in January, and always 12 noon and always on the 20th. So when that occurs, that means that Taurus rising since 1933, Taurus has been on the ascendant. So, you know, Venus rules Taurus, right? Venus wants connection. Venus enjoys, hey, material goods, right? Taurus, sensuality and connection and material wealth and possessions and things. And so, yes, that can serve us, but it could also be a reminder to take our values higher. You know, that's always the way we want to go with that. And so the ascendant that is 10 degrees of Taurus. So Taurus rising, Venus rules, that always does rule every chart, no matter who's in office, you know, if we keep that January 20th at 12 noon. And the sun is always at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And so it's, you know, that's the light, you know, the story of our life in any administration with 0 Aquarius is democracy reigning and diversity, unity and diversity. Now this time we have Saturn conjunct at 3 degrees. It's right next to the sun. So Sun, Saturn, we are serious about democracy. You could say that. We are getting serious, and we're gonna ground the very highest principles, and that'll be, you know, the reputation of our administration is always in the 10th house, right? One's reputation and standing. So we're taking a very serious, let's get down to business about building a democracy and a really empowered future. And Jupiter's there too. Well, I have the same feeling of optimism today as I did 12 years ago when Obama was inaugurated. Because guess what? That's when Jupiter was last in Aquarius, 2008, the first inauguration. So, wow, here it is again. Jupiter conjunct Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn all together in close, you know, a little stellium there in Aquarius. So a very hopeful optimism. Remember how Obama had those pictures of him, that artist that did that image of him in like red, white, and blue, and it said hope in big letters underneath. Well, you could say that again for our democracy here under the Biden administration. You know, it's the Sun, Saturn, and Jupiter. So we are serious about hope. We are serious about being confident about, you know, this a sharing economy. You know, one that is looking out for our resources and our future and taking care of everyone. That's the high road of Aquarian, right? We are all, whether you're gay or straight or black, white, or, you know, disabled. I mean, where everyone gets included. No one is left out. We're all invited to the dinner table. We create a table that includes everyone. So that's quite exciting. Mercury is in Aquarius for this administration, also in the 10th house. So by our speech, by our actions, and our speech and our attitudes and our thoughts and our connections with others are going to be in different and unusual ways, and unique and unusual. And so the very evolution of of this administration depends on making those connections, taking care of one's neighbors, sharing and connecting and engaging in maybe new and innovative forms of, for example, selling and commerce, you know, because Mercury rules commerce. So internet technology will definitely play a huge part in how we deliver these things. And also to just watch out for, you know, needing to go along with the crowd. That would be a lower end of things. It's like thinking for oneself, thinking for ourselves, embracing our uniqueness. That's going to be a big theme. You know, again, Mars conjunct Uranus on the ascendant. Wow, that's a powerful, potent, very, very potent. And so forces of change. So if you're like a BIPOC, Black and Indigenous person of color, LGBTQ, this is going to be a very supportive administration. I mean, we've already seen that, but it's like literally written into the chart. So the tone that was laid today is really, we have this potential now in front of us. I feel like we've been through the worst of it, and we're still in the middle of a very, very serious situation, of course, with the pandemic and the economic downturn and such that resulted from all that. And there is a lot of hope. And there is about us standing up and literally working together. You know, Mars conjunct Uranus. How are we gonna lead in the world? Well, leading with an eye on others and inclusion and celebration of diversity. So that's key, and that's what we're projecting. That's like, I was reading like Robert Hand, who's arguably the most famous living astrologer on the planet. He was saying how in an inauguration chart, he thinks that the first house, not the 10th house, reflects the administration. I used to just look at it as the 10th house, but it's really the first. because, and I feel like, not that there's a rule about that, but I'm interested in how he looks at it that way. And because the first house is like what is being born, what is the thing that is being born? What's being born is being strong and valiant in our democracy, passionately standing for it, standing for our values. And the fact that it's Uranus and Mars are in the sign of Taurus, Venus being the ruler of that Mars-Uranus connection, Venus wants peace and harmony and connection, you see. So it's not the embattled, crazed, rageful Mars energy of when Mars was in Aries. It's a peaceful grace. It's divine mother, divine feminine grace over these new dynamic changes. The unknown, Uranus is always about the unknown. That might throw you for a roller coaster. It might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's designed to liberate us. So with Venus ruling that Mars Uranus, that's nice. That's more tempered, less combative potential. It's standing up and being bold and courageous around peace and harmony. So, wow, yay, right? and Venus, the ruler of the chart, if you look at it, it's in the sign of Capricorn, and that's 15 degrees. And there's a little asteroid called Utopia, asteroid Utopia. So I'm like, hey, it's the inauguration. We always feel hopeful, new beginning of an inauguration. Well, Utopia is conjunct Venus. So yay, that's more good news about building a society, a compassionate, female-centered, well, we got Kamala Harris in office now, a female leadership, right? Cardinal sign, Capricorn, government, women in government. This is a very ideal time for that, for more of that. And so it making that, that connection certainly bodes well. There's also, let's see, have I covered everything there's to say? Yeah, and the moon, it's interesting. The moon's at 28 degrees of Aries. So the environment in which this happens is going to be it's going to be a passionate, courageous, the moon being the population of the people. The moon rules the people, the population in a mundane chart. So the moon being in Aries is feisty and fiery, and certainly and it's in the 12th house in whole sign houses. I'm using whole sign, so the moon's in the 12th house. So that to me that's very, Jupiter rules that 12th house in ancient astrology. Neptune rules it in modern. So yeah, it has two rulers, depending on what school, right? I'm in the school. I'm switching gears or incorporating a whole nother gear into my practice with the ancient astrology. But I will say that the moon is passionately standing for a nurturing, the way in which we connect with each other is as individuals, as sovereign individuals, I would say. And in the 12th house, maybe being brave behind the scenes where nobody's looking, where we're just connecting on a compassionate level, on bhakti yoga, and in solitude, and or not needing the credit, but just wanting to be brave and stand strong and create new paths for our society, that is for everybody's greater good. So anyway, I just had to share that. We just got this pretty cool lineup with the inauguration. Lots to look forward to, lots to work for. We've got a COVID and a climate crisis and a lot of things, but we will get it done, and justice, justice will prevail for everyone's forward movement. Even if you're a Republican and you wanted Trump to win, it's like, look, we're all sharing this planet together. So we have to give up our judgments and our preconceived notions and just all move forward. Especially with the North Node in Gemini making that nice trine to Mercury in Aquarius. It's an exact, it's a trine. So that's another powerful indicator of, you know, where we're going to find grace and ease and movement is in embracing diversity and listening to other points of view, and not, don't assume that I know it already. I know, you know, that would not be good, but to say, hey, I'm curious, you know, how is it that you arrived at that? Or as President Biden said so many times today, you know, just, it's so, if you disagree, then so be it. It's like, but at least we can have respectful civil discourse. So we're healing that. It's not that everybody has to think the same way. You can't. This is the USA. We all have our own mind, but we can all respectfully have discourse the way we used to. But this time it'll be better. We're not going back to the past. This is new ground, and I'm really excited. So anyway, I just wanted to share those thoughts and sentiments with you, and I'm very grateful for all of you new followers. Wonderful always to hear from you. Any kind of questions, or please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. How do you feel going forward on Inauguration Day? No matter where you live in the world, how do you feel, and what are your hopes and dreams? Love to hear about them. And just be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and a little share button there below. So that's all for now. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I'm blessing you all. We send blessings and light to the United States of America, my home country, my beloved country. We're so grateful. We're so grateful. Oh, and Lady Gaga, let me just say, oh my God, didn't she look gorgeous? And the dove, that golden dove on her shoulder, almost, you know, flying big, right? Couldn't miss that. And the bright red, that passionate bright red, um, Valentine red, right? and that beautiful gown of hers. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, focus on the dove. That's a good thing to do. Anyway, so I just want to send blessings, and thank you all so much for listening. It's always a pleasure. And we march forward, we move forward. This is a new beginning. So yay, we're reprogramming, we reprogram ourselves. Yay, we're coming up out of the lotus springs from the mud, right? And here we are. So, okay, well, that's all for now. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. This is Irlianna Samsara, Star Sound Speaks, Star Sound Astrology. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Namaste.